Hello everyone, I am Romer James Utba.
And I am Joby Claire Jundang Jr.
And I am Steve Francis A. Lagonera.
And we are the grade 11K. And today we are going to present and report the chapter 12, Responding to Social, Political, and Cultural Change. Societies change as time passes, and many of the changes societies undergo are experienced as upheavals, crises, or challenges. People have devised various ways of dealing with social, political, and cultural change through involvement and collective action. These collective actions are influenced and defined by political, social, and cultural forces. In turn, social actions and movements have themselves become sources of change in their respective societies.
Inclusive citizenship and participatory governance. Citizenship refers to the legal status of an individual in a particular state that allow him or her to enjoy certain rights and protection. Citizens are beneficiary of social welfare programs and other public service and are granted protection from internal and external threats. Citizenship also bestows certain obligations like the payment and tax and observance of law.
Consider citizens as being involved in dialogue, information exchange, and decision making. Citizens are not seen as passive members of the state, but active participants who are able to make decisions and contribute to the public welfare. In this view, exclusivity is seen not only in membership to that state but in active participation in political processes. One example of deliberative and exclusive citizenship is the participation of community members in barangay assemblies, where they engage in dialogue, information exchange, and decision making at the local level.
The different democratic view of citizenship is the practice of one citizenship is not limited to direct involvement in a government or in a public events or engagement such as government fora. Citizenship should also be active in civil society and in the private sector. The differences democratic view of citizenship is significant in time when civil society organization requires transparency and are held accountable for their action. Citizens need to engage such organization and remind them of their public character.
The cosmopolitan view. The cosmopolitan view of citizenship, on the other hand, extends citizenship beyond the stage to regional and international levels. Based on this view, citizens should not only address local and national issues, but should also involve themselves in regional and international issues and concerns. This view of citizenship is necessary because of the common challenges faced by different peoples and countries that require collective decision and response. Climate change, for example, cannot be resolved by the citizens of only one state. Examining the aspect of the issue, making politics, and initiating concrete action require collaboration among concerned citizens from various states.
Despite the challenge, both the different democratic view and the cosmopolitan view of citizenship provide citizens an expanded scope in terms of awareness and action. Inclusive views on citizenship continue to redefine the nature of citizen involvement and provide avenues for greater citizen participation in wider and more diverse fields. An inclusive view of citizenship also implies a citizenry engaged in governance. More and more, it has become important for governments to provide mechanisms for citizens to engage the state. Participatory governance, according to the United Nations Committee of Experts on Public Administration, is one of the many public institutional strategies that contribute to shared vision in planning, budgeting, monitoring, and accountability of development policies and programs. Citizens could now be involved in political process other than elections.
Participation and interaction through social media. A decade ago, many people may not have heard of Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Wikipedia, and Google. Now, these websites have become part of our everyday lives. During the 1990s, a revolution in communication technologies was brought about by the widespread use of satellite and cable television, mobile phones, the internet and information technology. This revolution has transformed media and society and helped to create what has been called in information society or a network society. Over the last 2 decades, developments in information technology have been occurring at a rapid pace, with the internet become widely available worldwide and increasing by large parts of a global population.
New media is a generic term for the various forms of electronic communication made possible by digital or computer technology. Examples are cable and satellite telecommunication and the internet. Social media includes forms of electronic communication that facilitate social interaction and the formation of online communities through the exchange of user-generated content. Social media technologies take on many forms, including blogs, business networks, enterprise, social networks, forums, microblogs, photo sharing, products and service reviews. Social bookmarking, online gaming, social networks, video sharing, and virtual worlds. Social networking gained a different and new dimension with the advent of new media. Social networking sites like Facebook, Google, and Twitter are more popular than ever, and they have changed the way people use the internet. These sites allow people to keep in touch with their friends and information, plan events, and engage in various online activities.
New media and politics. To what extent has media affected politics? The most popular claim is that new media is a progressive force helping to improve the quality of political life by contributing to a general transfer of power from governance and political elite. To the public at large, this argument is often summed up in the idea of democracy. New media is considered a significant source of political change in at least three key ways. First, electronic communication has altered the conduct of electrons. This is seen in this conduct of campaigns, which now increasingly resolve around internet-based activities. Second, new media offer citizens wider and easier access to information and more accessible venues to engage in political discussion. Many countries are now making government information available online, and some allow citizens to access government services through websites. Third, new media supported the development of political and social movements and further increased their effectiveness. This has given rise to a new style of activist politics, which is sometimes called new politics.
The rise of new media, however, has led to various criticism and issues. For instance, the trend towards of democracy has been linked to growth the privatized and consumerist form of citizenship. This consumerist citizenship, however, lacks a genuinely public dimension and fails to engender meaningful debate and discussion. The problem is traced to the belief the political problems such as low voter,
New media, cultures, and globalization. Access to information has been critical in inspiring political and social change in many countries in contemporary times. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, access to radio and television party led to the fall of many communist regimes in Eastern Europe. The rise of new media has led to many instances of social and political transportation in many parts of the world. There are, however, still some attempts to limit access to information in effort to stem political action and the idea of a global culture as a consequence of new media has led to discussion on the global changes to influence by new technology and communication.
Social movements. Another way to bring about or respond to social and political change is to pull together individual efforts in a joint collective action through a social movement. It refers to a sustained, organized, collective effort that seeks to bring about change. Most social movements engage the government, international organizations, corporations, or other powerful institutions in an effort to advance their goals. Social movements actions include street protests and other mass demonstrations.
There are different types of social and movements depending on the types of social or political change. They are able to generate reform movements such as American civil rights. Movements successfully introduce change in the political structures and processes of their respective societies. Meanwhile, revolutionary movements cause massive and deep change in society and politics. An example would be the 1789 French Revolution that changed France from an absolute monarchy to republic. Other kinds of movements wanted better recognition of their religion or economic class from the state and society. Religions movements such as Falun Gong in China or the Muslim resistance movements in Mindanao and southern Thailand are good examples of these types of movements.
Social movements are different from other groups such as political parties and non-government organization or NGOs with respect to their structure, form of leadership and strategies. Unlike parties, they do not aspire to acquire political power through elections. They work for social and political change through non-conventional means such as protests, media campaigns, and advocacy. While some NGOs may become members of social movements, they have more formal and hierarchical structure. NGOs often have managers and professionals staff that run them. Social movements usually have a loose or informal organizational structure with non-government membership. The leader usually serve to coordinate actions of different groups that express willingness to join a specific cause rather than impose from the top. Social movements make decisions based on consultation with and participation of their members as compared to NGOs.
Social movements
Kaya,
often
10 minutes
reveal
lang,
a
oh.
divide among citizens, especially those who actively participate in social causes, and those in the majority who relegate themselves to the sideline. Those non-participants are considered to be free riders, individuals who reap the benefits of social change without directly participating in the collective action that brought about such change. For instance, the first people power in 1986 was participated in by citizens residing in Manila, with many coming from the middle middle class. However, the results of this movement brought about the fall of the Marcos regime, which had widespread effects throughout the country, affecting even the people who were not a part of the mass action in EDSA.
Perspective on social media movements. Why do social media movements exist? The first explanation focuses on explaining what motivates particular individuals to join social movements. Drawing from the field of psychology, the collective behavior approach believe that social movements are socially deviant groups. Given that individuals are guided by rational behavior, political action outside the government is a violation of social norms. They treat protests as acts aimed to destabilize society. In their view, social movements tend to display the behavior of a rowdy crowd or an angry more ready to wreak mayhem and violence on society. The phenomenon represents what is known as relative deprivation or a collective feeling of dissatisfaction experienced by members of society whose expectations are not realized. According to this theory, the deprived members of a group often compare their situation to those who they think are in a better or well-off situation. This approach was used to explain the stability caused in societies undergoing modernization starting in the 1960s. However, it could not fully account for the protests launched by the upper classes of society as well as countries with more established systems of government. The field of economic offered an alternative explanation. From their perspective, social movements are similar to any other organization. They are rational political actors with well-defined interests and goals.
The resource mobilization approach argues that the social movements need to have some kind of organizational structures in order to be successful. Collective actions are not spontaneous bursts of emotional grievance and discontent. Social movements are to discuss firms to mobilize available resources in the strategic action in order to get what they want. In other words, success in achieving their goals depends on the amount and kind of resources they possess.
The political process approach emphasizes the external political environment in analyzing social movements. This perspective stresses the role of political opportunities provided by the political system. The political process approach emphasizes the external political environment in analyzing social movements. This perspective stresses the role of political opportunities provided by the political system and the opening of political space for social movement activity. Often, the causes of social movement revolve around rights and freedoms. This approach argues that social movements often frame their issues in the language of rights and grievances in order to increase their popular support and legitimacy, giving them increased influence when dealing with powerful institutions such as the government.
New social movements, gender, and the environment. Democratization was identified one of the main processes of political change. Many states around the world are undergoing the drive to have more democratic, free, exclusive, secular, sustainable, and just societies influence the emergence of a number of social movements. These post-material values led to the emergency of new social movements as a response to the existence of conflicts, injustice, and unequal power relation between social movements.
New social movements advocate issues and concerns which, in their view, have been ignored by mainstream movements in the desire to establish a broad coalition among various social organizations. What makes these social movements meaningful? According to political sociologists Anthony Orum and John Dale, there are three basic differences. First, they are bound by shared identity. Modernization has produced a struggle revolving around issues of identity politics.
But coexisting with this movement are those launched by other sexual minorities such as the LGBT community. New social movements also employ innovative strategies of collectivity actions. They combine those with conventional modes of political action. The ecological movement utilize these types of strategies in their pursuit of persuading the environment.
Finally, new social movement go beyond influencing the state as they seek to create new spaces of representation outside the established political arenas. For them, the objective of their struggle is not only to challenge the state but more importantly democratize new public spaces for social activity. This means that some movement define success in being able to form a cohesive community among their members instead of constantly confronting the state to get recognition. They carve out public spaces outside the purview of the government and form communities where their identities, life choices, and social roles are accepted. That's the end of our report about responding to social, political, and cultural change.
Bye! Salamat, Shopee!
Doon lang mamalakas